really upset about an issue. I said, well, come and speak. She said, oh, Peter, thank you so much. And she thought she wasn't going to. And I guess she just wanted to.
Okay, I am unmuting.
Welcome to the regular meeting of Helotes City Council for September 9th, 2021. The time is 7 p.m. This evening, we're going to have the invocation by Council Member Cynthia Massey, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, as we come upon the 20th anniversary of 9/11, we lift up in prayer all those who lost their lives, particularly the first responders who, regardless of their own safety, rushed in to save others. May we never forget that we are all called to put others before ourselves. And here we are again in the midst of another chaotic time. Nevertheless, we acknowledge your sovereignty, knowing that you allow events to a purpose we don't always understand. Let us stay focused on you and not on the chaos and unrest that surrounds us. Let us try to be understanding of others and remember that we have all fallen short of your glory. As you direct in Psalm 25, show me your ways, O Lord, teach me your paths, guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Lord, please continue to help us to do what is right for our community and give us wisdom in all our decisions. Bless our first responders, our city staff, our elected officials, our citizens, and all those who support the city of Helotes. In your Son's blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Very much. Okay, we are going to start off with our public hearing. First of two, this will be the public hearing to give all interested parties the right to appear and be heard on the proposed fiscal year 2022 City of Helotes municipal budget, as written in item number 2. And the public hearing will start at 7:03. Do we have anybody listed to speak? Okay, and we will also close at 7:03. And we will now have the public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on the proposed fiscal year 2022 City of Helotes Economic Development Corporation budget. We will start also at 7:03. Anybody to speak? Nobody to speak, and we will close at, we'll call it 7:04. Okay, we'll now have citizens to be heard. Anybody online or in person? Nobody from the gallery? Okay, well, that concludes our citizens to be heard. Moving on to consent agenda, which will be items number 5 and 6. We're looking for a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda item. We have a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 5 and 6 as written.
Councilmember Merchant, and a second by?
I'll second.
Councilman. Any questions, issues, or items to be pulled? Okay, with no discussion, questions, all in favor of approving consent agenda items number 5 and 6 as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This brings us to the mayor's report. We have a couple of updates on the 2021 City Street Maintenance Plan. We have completed called the Neighborhood Road project up in Iron Horse Canyon using the HA5 topping, and it looks great. Provides an extra level of water repellent. Obviously the surface coating blocks the UV rays and helps keep the roads in as good a shape for as long as possible. There is an additional road project coming up for a thicker layment that will be going down on Iron Horse Way. And additionally, we have an upcoming project, a long-awaited project for similar topping over in Hunter's Ridge. And that'll be coming up in the upcoming weeks. I'd like to also give you an update with our community relations with Congressman Tony Gonzalez of the 23rd District of Texas. He was with us in Market Days last week. It was a great opportunity to be able to take him around, to introduce him to some store owners and property owners as well as some citizens. And just really had a great time. He was excited to see all the things we're doing here in Helotes, and an excellent friend. We're looking to partner with him on many projects in the future. And we're just grateful that he came out and spent some time, and an opportunity to be able to have him share some vision as well with the citizens. Brings us to item number 8. We're looking for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 8 as written.
I move that we discuss and take action on item number 8.
Okay, motion by Salazar, second by?
I'll second.
Okay, so I attended the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting on the 7th where the signs were discussed. The main crux of it is that the monuments are already there. All they're doing is just replacing the aluminum signage there on the monuments, and then the signage that's actually on the building, that is, again, the size and everything is staying the same, just the change is the name. They approved it, I believe, unanimously, so I support that as well.
I do not have anything to add.
Okay. All in favor of approving item number 8 as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Which brings us to item number 9, which will be the discussion on the proposed fiscal year 2022 municipal budget. And we do have some updates. I am actually fairly proud of some of the accomplishments that we have done working on this budget, and I certainly want to give a shout of appreciation to our city administrator. She has been working tirelessly on putting together, I don't know how many renditions when I would say, hey, why don't we try this? And she would work her magic, and of course with the rest of our staff, Tabby, just really hit it out of the park in putting this together. One of the notes that we have here, and you'll see we talked about the insurance premiums. We were hit with 30% increases in costs, which I just would not accept. We budgeted 15%, which was still exceedingly high, and that's an increase over last year's 23%?
It was 19%.
19%, so thank you. And what we did was we changed the plan, which of course, unfortunately, the same old story, broken record as it were, decreased benefits, decreased networks, increased premiums. Well, we did go to a HMO. We put out a survey, which is the first time this has been done in anybody's recollection, of giving them a couple options, let every single person have the opportunity to be able to share their inputs on if they wanted which of 2 plans that we picked out that would provide good coverage and actually a decrease in what they would have to pay out of their pocket, particularly for family. And we got a lot of good feedback. It seemed to be split right down the middle. Plan A and Plan B, or they didn't care. It's about even a third. As we sat and discussed, we felt that it was worth spending the extra money on Plan A, and so we decided to go with Plan A. It still comes at a savings to the city. It comes at a significant savings for the individuals on their family plans that have has any additional family members that they put on there. And we also gave an option for a buy down. If a family doesn't use a lot of insurance, there's a really low cost option, and the additional difference between what we would have contributed on the Plan A and that Plan C, if you will, goes into an HSA so that they can build up and use as an actual benefit later on in life. We're also putting out a RFP for subscription-based healthcare. We're looking and waiting to see who will actually respond to that, but it's really outside of the box thinking and how we handle healthcare. Obviously, we're not talking about surgeries, et cetera, that would fall under regular insurance, but this could really help address some of the issues that brought us to the high claims that we are experiencing, which caused high insurance premiums in the first place. So it's not just about finding a cheaper option, it's about fixing the problem that caused us to have the situation that we're in. And if all goes well, we'll find out over the course of this next year. We may end up being able to meet our goal of being able to provide better care year over year as opposed to worse care. And that's what we're looking at. As a result, we were able to take some of our savings and actually shift them in the departments from healthcare and over towards raises. So we didn't change anything from what we've been looking at department-wise. We've been working with police and fire particularly. We have some long-standing issues of concerns about losing people due to pay, which is something that cannot be held hostage to, and we can't be held hostage to just because some other municipality or organization pays more. But we do need to be competitive, and one of the other things we have to realize is there's a significant reduction in applications for both police and fire, particularly police, as you might imagine from last year's social events. And so we were able to actually increase the raises for fire from 1.5% to 2.5%, and police from 3 to 4. And you may consider, well, why are we giving them higher? There has been a pendulum swinging and where we shift the lion's share of the pie between police and fire over the past, well, forever. And this year really needed to go to PD. We're trying to even that out so that we look in the future just treating public safety as public safety and not this pendulum, if you will. But this should really put us in a very good position of a net positive for our employees in wages, net positive employees in the fact that they're having to pay less out of their pockets. So that's a de facto raise. Some people will end up having a really net gain of as much as 13 to 16%. Not everybody, but at minimum, we are definitely turning the employment environment around to the positive this year, which on a financial turnaround year is an extreme accomplishment. Mary, we'll go ahead and shift over to you because I'm tired of hearing me talk. Why don't you talk a little bit about our 380 and what you did on our budget allocation?
So when I was looking at our budget and the 380 allocation, one of the things that we do at the end of the year is a budget adjustment. Well, because the 380 expense correlates with the revenue, we would constantly have to do a budget adjustment. So I sat down, I looked at it, and I asked the auditors, why do we have it as an expense? Operating budget is only for municipal purposes. Your contract agreement is not a municipal purpose. It's an agreement that those funds can only be paid out to that agreement. So when I talked to the auditors and I looked at the audit, I noticed at the end of the year, they actually take it out of expenses and then remove it from expense line item and actually just minus it from revenues, so that they make the audits or corrections. So I said, well, if you do that at the end of the year anyway for your cap for the capper, why aren't we doing it in our actual budget? And the auditors went back, looked, and she says, well, that's the way actually it should be done. You shouldn't have a line item for that expense it should be taken out of your revenue because that's not a true operating expense, and that's what your operating budget is. You can do it one of two ways. You can just take it out of your line of revenues, or have what they call a special revenue fund, where you have a separate bank account, so the money you get from that sales tax or that property tax, whatever your 380 agreement is, you put it there and then you take it out. Well, that's not beneficial for a city because you pay fees to those bank accounts. And why are you going to pay fees for money coming in that you're going to just pay out within 60 days? So what we've done in this budget, and you'll see it on the EDC budget on the 23rd, because I haven't presented it to the board yet, you'll see the difference in the sales tax. You actually see it in the property tax, but you see an increase, but it's not really there. What it is in the property tax, we actually got the final rolls, and so those numbers have changed, and those are our final numbers. But what we basically did is move what we know we got from BMC, or what we budgeted from BMC, which is $1.4 million from sales tax, and we're actually deducting it from revenues instead of having a expense line item. And so it shows a true budget. So instead of saying we are getting $8.9 million of revenue and expending 8.6, we're really getting 7.6 of revenues that stays in the city that we can use for operating, and we're expending 7.2. So it's a true reflection of what our budget is and what funds the city has to use for operating.
So instead of showing revenues of 100 and expenses of 75 and left with 25 to work with, we only show the 25 net income that we have to work with, because that's really the true revenue
Right.
to the city.
And you'll see that we're going to bring a budget adjustment that we do at the end of the year, and we'll do that for this year's budget, so we can see a true reflection. And that will be our budget from now on.
Any questions? Other issues on budget? Line items? Okay.
I do have a question about the healthcare plans. Do we have a number that's in the budget yet?
Yes, the number's there. So what we basically did was it's exactly the same amount that we budgeted last year, which is I think $429 per person. So what we did was we were able to, because we had a cost savings since we had budgeted that 15% increase, that's why we're able to do the merit raises that we're able. Because we thought we were going to give a lot less merit raises, but because of that cost savings, we were able to do the merit raises. And that's why we were able to do between the 2.5 and 4% merit raises. And it didn't change the bottom line of our budget.
Our bottom line, when all is said and done, we're down to a difference that goes into reserves of how much?
$109.
$109. So
It's a pretty balanced budget.
that's a fairly balanced budget. We're hoping for some good things. One question, and just in the realm of transparency, we'll throw it out there because I thought it was a good question. Somebody maybe have said, well, we had fantastic sales this year. Why are you projecting sales tax revenues? Why aren't you projecting above that going forward? Because we do see gains. And the truth of the matter is, last year, Helotes was a little bit of an anomaly. Everybody stayed home through COVID and ended up shopping here. So it very well may be the start of a continued trend. It may well be just a one-year giant raise. And so what we did is really kind of took at the last 3 years and took a look at an average. Now, if this continues and we end up having, turns out that we end up having more, well, we can certainly do our projections next year based on a much more substantiated model of the new normal for whatever that is at this point. But that's the reason why we're projecting, although we did bump up our projections a little bit. And
We did, yeah. We basically did the 3 years and then averaged and put a little bit extra in there because we have been seeing, we saw a little bit of dip, and then we saw a little increase in the last 2 months. We'll know more next week when we get our last quarter to see if there's any, because more people have gone back to work, but total unemployment and everything it just ended now. So I don't think we're gonna really see the full trend until the next couple of quarters.
Everything? Okay. Well, with no further discussion, we'll go ahead and close discussion on number 9. And we're going to go ahead and adjourn into closed session. In closed session, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. In addition to the item listed below, we can discuss any other items for open session. But we will be discussing 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, to deliberate the purchase of real property as proposed by the City of Helotes Economic Development Corporation for future development purposes. No vote will be taken, no action will be taken, and we will return shortly. We are leaving now, adjourning for closed session at 7:20.
We're not staying long.
I'm gonna go to the football game, so I probably won't be there till like 9,
We're not staying long.
but, okay. So I may miss you.
Probably.
Good.
Keep you any of my personal history, you would think that I should be mean as hell. I have a horrible outlook on that. But I do not.
Matt.
Well, I've married.
Why don't you use the tape?
How did it go? Good?
Yeah, I rehearsed it. Oh, good.
Thank you.
Back online, and we're back in session at 7:29. We're on, we will go ahead and adjourn our open session at 7:29.